Hello, everyone, and welcome to Lilydale Radio. The name of this show is called Embracing Your Essence, and I am Colleen Vanderzijden, and I'd like to welcome you for joining me tonight. Thank you so much for being here today, and a little bit about myself as everybody is joining in. I am Colleen Vanderzijden. As I said, I am a registered medium in Lilydale. I am also a certified intuitive life coach. As a medium, we connect in with our loved ones on the other side. And as a life coach, I help people handle their lives, basically. If you have problems, you have concerns, things aren't going the way you'd like them to, or if you have a goal and you're not quite getting there, a life coach can help you get there. Tonight, we are going to be talking about fear, but before I get to that, I'll tell you a couple other things. So you can connect in with Lilydale at lilydaleassembly.org is the website. The official page on Facebook is Lilydale Assembly Incorporated. I should be live on Lilydale's page tonight as well as my own, Colleen Vanderzijden, medium and intuitive life coach. And if you are not following us, Lilydale and myself, please do so. That would be great. As you're joining in, please let me know you're here so I can make sure my comments are working and all of that stuff because technology, and we are in a Mercury retrograde. Hi, Diane. Thank you. Now I know they are definitely working. We are definitely in a Mercury retrograde. So let's see, what else do you need to know? You can connect with me at my website, ColleenVanderzijden.com, or a quick link, psychicmediumcolleen.com. So I feel like I haven't seen you guys in forever. I was gone on a vacation for 2 weeks. I went to Maine for the first week with my mom, and we had a ball. I had so much seafood and all of that stuff. It was great. And then this past week, I was in the Outer Banks off of North Carolina, and I am going to talk a little bit about a situation or a circumstance event that I saw there that was kind of fun. So I am going to talk about that. So thank you all for joining me. We've got Diane and Leanne and Julie. Hi, nice to see you again. Hi, Barb and Annette, Ashley and Darlene. So as I said tonight, now for my show, it's called Embracing Your Essence because it is all about embracing who you truly are at your soul level. Who are you at that soul level? It's very important for us to think about that. And we talk about different situations, different ideas every week on this show, and give you some ideas, some thoughts you can consider that can help you live a happier life. Because my purpose here in this physical lifetime is to help people live the most joyful life they possibly can. That is my purpose and my goal. And I do this as much as possible. So hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us. So tonight we are going to be talking about fear, as I said. Fear blocks us from living that life of joy and meaning that we want to have. And as we get going tonight, we'll talk about a few ideas to help you let go of the fear so that you can create an amazing life. So let's see. It feels like there's something else I need to tell you, but I can't remember it, so I'll tell you when I remember. So last week, as I said, I was on the Outer Banks. I went down there with my friend Jennifer. She plays in the Erie Philharmonic with me. So every year we like to go on a trip after our summer seasons are over, and we usually go to the Outer Banks. So that's where we went last week. And while I was there one day, I was on the beach, and it was a beautiful, warm, sunny day. So sorry for everybody who wasn't experiencing that. And I saw this mother helping a young boy learn how to boogie board. He probably was about 5 years old, maybe 4 even, because he looked pretty young. And it probably was his first time doing this because he seemed a little bit nervous and a little bit scared. And of course, she was doing her best to keep him reassured, let him know she was there for him. So when we boogie board, if you've never boogie boarded before, you might want to do it because it is fun. So the boogie board itself is a small board, and we lie on it to ride the waves into shore. They come with a cord attached to it, attached to a Velcro wrist strap. So you can tether it to yourself as you're coming in on the waves. In case you fall off your board, then the board will be nearby in case you need to get on it, or also to make sure it doesn't get washed away. So as the mother and son were standing there in the shallow water, she had the board tethered to her wrist. And so every time a wave would get close, she would help him get on the board and then give him this little bit of a push so that he could ride the wave in a little bit. Just as the wave reached him, she would give him a little push. So she was holding onto this tether and then would run after him as he got his little ride into shore a little bit. And as I watched them, it became apparent her holding onto the tether was stopping him from fully experiencing the ride. She, of course, was doing it to keep him safe and keep him close by her, but it was limiting his motion, and he wasn't able to move forward as well as he might have if he had been untethered. So after many times of watching her run after him, there was a time where she accidentally dropped the tether. And he did this great ride as way into the beach. It was amazing. It was such a good ride. And after seeing that, she chose not to hold it anymore because she realized he knew what he was doing well enough. It would be fine. And later on, Jen and I were standing down by the water. And he was still out there playing in the waves and doing this. And he was riding these waves, as many as possible, each one after another. And as he's doing this, he was shouting and whooping and laughing. And he looked at me and Jen, and he was shouting something to us, but we really couldn't understand him with the sounds of everything. But he was having so much fun. His face was the face of, look at me. I've got this. It was pure joy and bliss. It was amazing. We couldn't help but laugh with him as we watched him do this because he was enjoying himself so much. And every now and then he would wipe out, totally wipe out, but he would get back up, get back on the board, and keep going. And for those of you who watched me before and know anything about me, you know I'm going to make that into a lesson, that whole thing. Because as I was watching this and just kind of thinking about things as it was going, his mom was trying to keep him protected, but holding on to the tether was stopping him from having an unlimited joyful experience. When she let go, he overcame his fear too, as did she. They both overcame the fear by letting go. When we have a fear, we're holding on to something. We're always holding on to something, and it shows up in lots and lots and lots of different ways. Frequently, we're tethered to thoughts, right? And they keep us stuck in pain, worry, anxiety, and then inaction. Okay? We have fears of uncertainty. We don't know what's going to happen. And that's uncomfortable for us as humans. We want to know what's going to happen, but as we all know, that's not always the case. So we have this fear of uncertainty that can keep us stuck in worry and obsessive thinking. We have a fear of judgment. So many of us have fears of judgment. We don't want other people looking at us and judging us. So, of course, then we might not try something. So much of our lives is based on a fear of judgment. Lots of times we have a fear of failure. That's an obvious one, right? We have a fear of failure. We don't want to look badly, of course, to the other people, tied in with judgment there. But also our own sense of shame or the voice of our inner critic that tells us we are a failure. So we try to avoid the failure. So we have this fear of failure. We can also have the fear of success. We've all heard about that as well. And the first time you hear about that, you think, really? That's even possible? That's something out there? It is. We have a fear of success because when you succeed at something, more is expected of you, right? We can also have a fear of not having the life we want. We thought we might have a different life and we don't have it now. So now we have a fear about that. Or we might have a fear that makes us worry about something happening with our kids. So many parents have that fear. And I hear this all the time. I'm looking to see the comments. Diane, boogie boarding at 56. Yes. My video keeps pausing. Is it just me? And maybe you, Steve. Mine's doing it too. Well, I'm plugged in, so I should be okay over here. I am plugged in all the way. Let me plug this, make sure it's really in all the way. Hold on. Technological issues going on right now. Okay. You know what? I'm going to switch something. Hold on. Oh, no, that's going to be a problem if I do that. Okay, I'm going to see. Hopefully that works. It's good now? Okay. Thanks. I hope it stays good. I'm just wondering. This doesn't seem to be in all the way, but I don't want to move something else because then I could lose the camera, and you know how that goes. Oh, hold on. Don't mind me. Don't mind me as I try to make sure it's in all the way. It just doesn't seem to be in all the way. Oh, well. We'll see. Mine is pausing as well. Well, that's sucky. Hold on. I'm still working here. I'm still working on my technological issues, making sure everything is plugged in. Oh, well, I think that's going to be the best. Oh, yours is pausing too. Oh, that's too bad. Okay. Don't mind me yet again. I know, sorry. But if I've got things to say, I want to make sure you hear what I have to say. So, hold on. I'm trying to think of what I can disconnect without losing y'all. I don't want to lose y'all. I'm going to disconnect my computer and plug this other thing into that, and that should work. Don't mind me as I stand up. I'll tell you a story if I had one. I'm trying to anyway. Okay, hold on. I think something's wrong with my other thing. I think something's wrong with my other thing. Okay, we'll see. You think it's a Facebook issue. Facebook is bad all day. I don't think it's me. Okay. Well, thank you for reassuring me. Mercury retrograde. We'll blame it on that. Yes, thank you. You're on my TV, but there's no pause. Okay, so maybe we're all good. Well, I'll just keep talking and get back to my story. How about that? So anyway, so we're talking about fear. And actually, let me pause. Feel free always to write comments on here. So if you have questions or something in particular you do want me to address, make sure you ask the question, because I will see it eventually here. And we are talking about fear, which is so prevalent right now in the world. So we don't want to be caught in it. We don't want to be stuck there. That is a definite. So there are lots of ways we experience the fear, lots of different kinds of fears. We grasp at these ideas. Lots of times, right, when we have a fear, we grasp at something, thinking if we focus on it, we'll be safe and protected. We attach to the certain outcomes, right? We want what we want when we want it. We try to control our lives, and it's all about protecting ourselves. So fear has been this underlying force throughout most of our lives, and it shows up in every way, so many different ways. It shows up so much. Lots of times we may not acknowledge it as fear. No, I'm just worried. Well, worry is actually rooted in fear. Or I'm stressed out. Same thing. They're all rooted in fear. So if we can start to shift the way we think about this, we can start to let go of some of that and move on. Our brain is naturally wired to protect us. And if we don't have an authentic, genuine, dangerous threat, our mind will make one up. Isn't that something? We can take a fleeting circumstance and turn it into a problem. And we focus on the negative. And as we focus on that, it's really a misguided attempt to protect ourselves, isn't it? How many times have you had a thought pop into your head? You were fine. You were just fine. Life was going well. There were no problems. And all of a sudden, you're worried about something, stressed about something. It's your mind just playing tricks on you. It's looking for danger. And you don't really have any danger. You don't have a tiger stalking you. So your mind is going to make something up. And that's part of the reason why we are fine one minute and the next minute we're not. Our mind does it. But we can shift that. When we are stuck in fear, what happens is our lives become limited, don't they? We don't fully experience our situations. We might say no to an opportunity that seems like the best thing we ever wanted, but we're too scared to step into it. We might numb ourselves with overeating or overdrinking, or we might never take a risk, a small or a big one. And what we do, as so many of us say, is we keep ourselves safe and small. We're unaware of the power we have to let go of the fear and create that amazing life. Safety is a great thing. Okay, we do want to be safe. Of course, we can have discernment. We can value good things, good warnings, things like that we really need to be aware of. But lots of times, what happens is we take a smaller thing and make it into a bigger thing. I will acknowledge the heavier fears in a minute. I will talk about that. But what we want to do is not keep ourselves and we can all get stuck in there with our minds. We just get stuck in there. It's amazing. They do their own thing. So we have to be aware, and then we can shift it. So when you get to the end of your life, will you feel like you rode the waves? Or did you stay tethered in the shallow end of life? Don't you think that's a great phrase? Are we going to ride the waves of our life? Or are we going to stay tethered to our fears in that shallow end? The thing with life is we might have some wipeouts along the way. I shouldn't even say might. We will have some wipeouts along the way because that's just the way life is. But aren't our wipeouts the best opportunities for us to reclaim our power and learn to believe in ourselves. Our wipeouts lead us to believing in ourselves. It's so important. This means if we want to ride those waves, that we have to choose to let go of allowing that fear to stop us. You know, the first time you boogie board, or you go snorkeling, or you dive off a diving board, so water theme for a second there, that's scary. You know, the first time you speak your truth after hiding it for so long, that's scary. The first time you take a new job, or you start a new relationship, that can be scary. But you do it anyway because you choose to become courageous. You choose to step into it. You choose, I might start taking screenshots every time the video pauses, then share all the funny faces of Colleen. Oh my gosh. Do you know at the end of the video when I start to look at the, the little thumbnails and stuff, sometimes they save the worst ones. I look horrendous. Well, hopefully next week the video is a little bit better than it is right now. So, but anyway, you choose to step in and take it. So start thinking about, is there a thought that is keeping you tethered to fear? Is there some thought, some worry, some repetitive thing in your head that keeps you tethered to the fear? Within this fear, there's a message for you. And exploring the message can help you let go of the fear. It could be a simple, in quotes, message of not believing or trusting in yourself, which is simple in our understanding, but we know how hard it can be sometimes to believe in ourselves or trust ourselves. And because of that, of course, we're going to have some profound impacts on our choices and how we live our lives. If you don't believe in yourself, you may not try something new. You may not believe you can end a relationship, or trust yourself to live on your own. Or to look at it from a little bit of a different part here, it might be a simple message of something different. So let's say you have a really bigger fear-based thought that's challenging in a different way. That stuff is usually connected to the fear of the unknown. That's a big one. We're scared over what might happen. And the message within this, the fear of the unknown, the fear of uncertainty, is to the same thing. Believe and trust in yourself that you can get through it. And there's further message within this fear of the uncertainty, is to trust the life process. Life is as it is. We are going to have issues, circumstances, things that are problematic. And one more trusting thing here, trusting spirit, the divine, the universal energy to help you. So trusting is so important here for letting go of fear. Trusting the divine doesn't mean you'll always get the answer you want, right? We all know this. But when you trust, even if it's a minimal effort to trust, you'll be letting go of the fear because you'll be reconnecting to yourself, you'll be reconnecting to the divine, you'll be back in your peace and joy, and you can do that even in challenging circumstances and uncertain circumstances. So the antidote for fear is trust. Now, let's see, I'm going to check the comments here. Funny feeling like I'm rolling with the waves as I become untethered from all that I thought was safe. Yes, and that is a great point, Leanne, because sometimes when we become untethered, life can feel like we are rolling with the waves. We can feel like we're battered with the waves. We can feel like we're being taken out to sea. And sometimes, you know how hard it is, right? When you don't know what's going to happen, you don't know what to do next, and life is hard and we don't have control. That's where we run into problems. We want control. If we can trust that being untethered and those waves are going to help us actually get where we need to go so that we can become our strongest self, our best self, so that we can learn whatever lesson we need to learn, so we can move into a deeper sense of trusting, then it all ties in together with a nice little circle here, so we have to let go so we can trust. And when we trust, it's easier to let go. So it goes round and round. I remember this great story from years ago. And I don't even know exactly where I heard this, but it's the story of a man or person who falls off of a cliff one night. So it's dark. He falls off of this cliff. He manages to grab onto a rope or a tree branch or something like this. And he's hanging there in midair and he's calling for help. And he heard a voice say, "Let go." And he responds with, "I can't. I'll fall. I could die or get hurt." And so he keeps yelling, help me, somebody help me." And the voice repeats louder, "Let go." And he responds again, "I can't. I'm too scared. I can't see. The ground is too far away." So it was too dark. He couldn't see what was around him. And even louder, he heard the voice go, "Let go. You'll be fine. Just let go." And still he hung on, stuck in his fear. And eventually he gets tired and he has to let go. Although he anticipates this really long fall, he quickly jolted to a stop. He couldn't see in the dark, and he had only been about a foot off the ground the whole time. The story he told himself wasn't true. He couldn't see where he was going, how the end would be. It was literally dark. He couldn't see it. So he didn't know what the ending would be. And he was tethered to the thought he wasn't safe. And he didn't trust that voice that said, "Let go." So many times our inner critic uses fear under the pretense that we will be safer. We get stuck in that voice that says, "Don't do that because it's dangerous." Whether it really is or not, maybe it's not. But it uses that fear to keep us stuck. And so then we're stuck in this uncertainty. We can't see the ending. We're stuck in the story. We can't do this. We can't do that. We can't change how we're thinking. We can't do this, whatever it is. And what this does is we start thinking things are too hard or too scary. And that's when we move into the safe and the small parts where we're not living fully. We're tethered to this thought, and our inner critic voice does this. We're tethered to this thought or these ideas, and these things limit us. They stop us from living a joyful, meaningful life. It just does. We don't like the waves, the negative waves. We don't like those. We want to have control, and it's really hard for us to trust this. And when we're tethered to these ideas, it blocks our ability to trust ourselves, trust life, or trust the divine. So to let go of fear would be to pick one, something to think about for this week. Pick one fear-based thought that you're attached to. What are you tethered to? What is your primary worry? What is your primary concern? What are you not doing that you really want to do, but something's holding you back? That's fear-based, of course, right? Start thinking about some of those things. It could be as simple, in quotes, as speaking your mind to somebody. It could be as simple as standing up for yourself. It could be as simple as detaching from somebody for a little bit who is criticizing you or judging you. Whatever it is, just pick one thing. Because if you pick too many things, it's really hard to do, right? Okay, and make a commitment to yourself to let go of that fear. Let go of it. You have the power of choice. Now, this is the first step. There's more, of course, but this is the first step. You have to choose. Do you want to keep living a limited life where you're stuck in fear, worry, stress, pain, whatever it is? Or do you want to have a life that is full, meaningful, and joyful? Which life is more important to you? Which is more important? Yes, fear of abandonment. And because of that, I hold on to people longer than I should. Yes, and Ashley, the way through that is recognizing more about who you truly are and the power that you have to create the life you want. Okay. And it also brings in the thoughts of self-love. Can we love ourselves enough that when somebody judges us, or that we're in an uncomfortable situation, or a situation that needs to end, or relationship issues or something, can we let go of it enough because it's a sign of love to ourselves? So if we're staying with people longer than we should be, usually it's fear of conflict, that kind of thing, avoiding hurting somebody else, that kind of stuff. So those are related in there, but this would signal that working on your own self-love, self-appreciation, self-gratitude would be a step to work on. And the future, Darlene, that's a toughie, isn't it? The future we have no control over. And I'm talking about external situations that we have no control over. We have control over our future. We have control over the direction we want to move into. We have control over what kind of future we want to create for ourselves. So rather than picking up on things we cannot change, we acknowledge they are there, and we do the best to send love and light to those situations. And that is an action step. You can do an action step towards that, you know. And confidence, of course, is a big person's, lots of people's block, a big block for lots of people. Whew, better sentence there. Self-doubt. We all have self-doubt. Well, so many of us do anyway. We have a lot of self-doubt. And that's just a sign we're not believing or trusting in ourselves. So what we want to do is just pick that one thing. Decide which life is more important. Is it more important to go after your dreams? Is it more important that when you get to the end of your life, you say to yourself, man, I did the best I could on that. You know, there were some real crashes there in my wipeouts, but I kept going and I did the best I could. And even sometimes we'll find in our wipeouts, we have people there to support us and encourage us and guide us along the way. So we're not alone. And that so many times is another fear, that we are alone. We don't have people there for us. We're never alone. Even if you truly believe there is no one around you who supports you, loves you, encourages you, there is someone somewhere who does. And if that is the case for you, definitely start looking for people who are more like-minded and do what you have to find them. I know sometimes it can be hard, especially as adults, to make new friends. But we do have the advantage of Facebook and other social media things where we can use it in a positive way. So we can do all of that as well. So pick the thought first, okay? Decide if you want to go for it or not. If you do, then we're going to explore that message in the fear. Is it to trust yourself? Is it to trust the life process? Or is it to trust the divine? It's always coming from the trust aspect. To let go of the fear is to trust. You can ask for help from the universe, your guides, God, spirit. You can ask for help, of course. Now, remember that trusting yourself is the same as trusting the divine, because we are the same. We are one. We are the divine. So trusting yourself is the same. But I do realize and acknowledge that sometimes it's easier to trust something that seems more external, like a God or the universal divine energy. And all of us can send prayers up, can ask for help, can ask for guidance. I've said many times, and I'll repeat myself until I've changed intentions, my intention this year is guide me. Okay, so I'm asking Spirit, the universe, the divine energy to guide me in everything I do. So I could ask myself that, but that feels weird to me. So that's why I ask the spirits to help me with that. So, but do acknowledge, of course, that trusting yourself is the same as trusting the divine. So let's see. Yes. Ashley's saying, most days I have the you only live once attitude. Aren't you impressed? I knew what that meant, Ashley. But lately it is so hard to look past all the awful things around us. And I don't want to get too far off into this, but we are living in extraordinary times right now. And I am experiencing, as is everyone I know, some discomfort, some days greater than others, with the energetic things that are happening around us. So many of us are finding that what a little problem has turned into a big, gigantic problem. Or we wake up in the morning and we don't feel right. Just from when we wake up, we might feel depressed or anxious or worried right away. And keep in mind if you're experiencing some of these energetic ups and downs, especially because so many things are happening externally. Remember, that energy does affect us. Even if it is not directly impacting us, it does affect us. So we are in an energetic turmoil right now. That would be a good radio show topic, wouldn't it? Energetic turmoil. Somebody remind me to write that down. So that would be a good one. So we're in this now. So we've got to treat ourselves with a lot of compassion, a lot of kindness, We may have to be very careful about where we expend our energy. We may have to decide we're not going to do some things that we said we were going to do. It's okay to cancel things if energetically you need to do that. So self-care, we are in a heavy-duty self-care time now because of this turmoil. So if you wake up in the morning or you're struggling with everything and it's hard to stay positive and optimistic, I recommend you have an affirmation or an intention that you can say that will help you get out of your head. And that can help bring you back. The other thing you can do, and I was just thinking about this morning, so we're on the same wavelength now, Ashley here, is to break our patterns. You know, if I get up in the morning and I don't have to leave the house for some reason, that sometimes I can feel my energy kind of dip a little bit. So then I get out, take a walk, go to the post office, drive to a store or something like that. So two things, set an intention or affirmation. The other thing is break the pattern. Do something different. If you're stuck in your head, go do something physical. So I did a little sidetrack for you guys right there for 2 seconds. So we explore that message, which is trust, of course. Then the next thing is taking the action. Are you going to risk it? What can you do? Physically do. Mentally say to yourself, whatever it is, what can you do to help you let go of the fear? What can you do to help you be more courageous? Now, the definition of courageous is you may still experience some fear, but you do it anyway. Okay, so we want to be courageous. Okay, so letting go of the fear is choosing to be courageous. So what are you going to do? How are you going to take the risk? Are you going to say what you need to say? Are you going to shake it up? Are you going to try hard to believe in yourself? And sometimes that's all we need is just a try hard to believe in ourselves. And even if you wipe out. Okay, you wipe out. You try something and it just doesn't work. And what happens, right? That inner critic steps in and just tells you how awful you are, what a horrible person you are. You were so stupid for trying that, blah, 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 blah. As soon as you hear that voice doing that, break the pattern, stop it. Say, no, I'm not going there. And you can say, I'm doing the best I can right now. And I love and accept myself as I am, whatever that feels right to you. Okay. So you've got to do something. If you wipe out, you learn from it, but you get back up and keep going, you know? So you want to ride the waves. Riding the waves sometimes it could be a little bit like tumbling in the waves sometimes. Treat yourself with compassion. Be gentle with yourself. Do what you have to do to take care of yourself. These days, here's an advantage of this emotional turmoil and energetic turmoil is so many of us are acknowledging other people's needs and problems and how they're doing. So if somebody says to me, oh, I can't do this now, I'm just overwhelmed, I respond with a more compassionate viewpoint than maybe I would have, a few years ago. I don't know. But we're much more aware of how everybody else is doing. And I think many of us are giving more grace to people. Now, granted, they're the other people, but don't go near them. Okay. So Barb, break your pattern. Do something different. Do something so totally different so you can get out of stuck. Anything at all. Take up painting online if you have to, and do something different. So you don't lose the fear until you take action, Darlene is saying. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be big action, but sometimes it's really good to do something, a risk every day. And it could be, I don't know, let's do a real simple one. Driving without your GPS someplace new and seeing if you can figure out where you're going, because you can always get back if you have a GPS, right? So do something different. Take a risk, do something different. Okay? So if you're struggling with something, say you want to do something, but you're struggling with it, and you know what you want to do, but you're still stuck, and you know that you're stuck. You know that you need to do something, but something is still holding you back. Okay, so what do you do? Okay, go back to, do you really want to move on? Now, the thing is, if you're stuck, we know that if you don't do some kind of action, you will not get unstuck. Did that make sense? Yeah. So you want to get unstuck. So you have to do some kind of action. Lots of different ways. You've got the mental, the emotional, the affirmations, the mind shifts, all those things. And many times just doing something physically will help you move it and break that. Once you take some action, And well, here's another thing. So say you have to make a decision of whether or not you're going to move forward or you're going to stay where you are. Remember to check in with your body. Okay, if you're going to move forward, if it's the right answer, your body will feel better. I've talked about this before, so if you watched me before, you already know this. But your body will feel better. It'll feel more open and expansive. Now, here's where the problem can come in. Sometimes we are so caught in our heads that we cannot even pay attention to our bodies. So we've got to break that. So stop thinking, just stop. Focus on the physical. Look around your room, look at different things in the room. Look at, 5, 6 different things in your room. Feel how your body's sitting in a chair. Listen to things. What do you hear? Do you smell anything? So you want to use all of your senses to get back into your body. Okay. And then think about something really positive that's happened to you in the past, something nice and easy that you loved that happened way back. And then just think about that and feel it in your body. That will tell you what feeling you want to go for. Okay. Then once you've relaxed a little bit, then touch back in. Part of our humanness is we want to know the answer right away. So if we're struggling with a decision, we want to know, no, right now, now. And we all know we need some space for that. So you've got to give yourself some space before you can touch in with your body. So that will help. I think I did a show fairly recently on not making a decision, not making a choice. Because sometimes we feel like we have to make a decision immediately, but we really don't. So I did a show fairly recently on that. So if you're struggling with something, you don't have to make a decision right away. You might want to look at that old show, and that will help you. Okay, so letting go of fear. You don't want to be tethered, stuck in the shallow end. You want to ride those waves. So pick one thing, make a decision that you want to get rid of it, explore the message, which is going to be based in trust. Who are you not trusting? Yourself? Are you not trusting the life process? Are you not trusting the divine? It's going to be based in trust. And then take some action. Take the risk. Give it a whirl. You might want to every single day just pick something and do something that you've never done before. Right? That would be a fun thing to do, wouldn't it? Okay, so that is my topic for today. So you can connect with me at my website, ColleenVanderzijden.com, or psychicmediumcolleen.com is a quick link. Please do follow me on Facebook, Colleen Vanderzijden, Medium and Intuitive Life Coach. My book coming out called Courageously You, Magical Mind Games to Get Unstuck and Reignite Your Joy is coming out, I think, next month. Amen. So it is coming out. We are right now in the final proofreadings, and then there'll be some formatting, and the cover is almost done. So we are getting there. So that will be out, and I will tell you all about that when we get closer. So that is coming. Make sure you're following Lilydale Assembly Incorporated on Facebook. LilydaleAssembly.org is the official website, and you can follow them there as well. Okay, so thank you all for coming and hanging out with me this evening. I'm really happy to talk to you. It was really weird not talking to you for the past couple of weeks. I don't know what we'll talk about next week, but if you have a good idea, let me know. You never know. And you guys have the most amazing week. And don't forget to let go of that fear. And I will talk to you next time. Bye.